Inch plus of rain at the airport here in San Diego, about a half inch. But this will soon add to even more of this with this steady pace of rain coming on through there. But we've seen perhaps even twice as much rain here in San Diego, a little farther north and east into the Palm Springs area. That's where Jen Carfagno has been riding out. And Jen, I know you're standing by an intersection. I saw that earlier where, you know, it's wet streets earlier. Now we have water splashing up as vehicles are rolling through there.
Yeah, and you know, Paul, this is actually by design, which I think is most interesting. I mean, how do you have a city in the desert next to mountains and not account for rain? You have to, because we do get rain. This is going to be a more significant one, and the potential is there for an historic record-breaking rainfall. But just, you know, the fact that we probably had even less than an inch already. I saw the report out of the Weather Service in San Diego at Temecula coming in at 3/4 of an inch. So we're probably in line with that. So it's that little rain, you know. Think about Florida, an inch of rain is nothing. But that has caused this big issue for us right here with the water all pulling up in this intersection of Indian Canyon Drive and Barista Road. And I'm sure this is playing out at some of the other areas where we have these storm channels where the water is intended to funnel into. And actually, you can see that beyond. The water is rolling in almost in waves like now, like a waterfall. As the water goes down there, it will flow all the way down to the Salton Sea. And that's the way the storm water is handled here in the Coachella Valley. All of the water, there's about 16 or 17 of these stormwater channels that collect this water that comes down from the mountains, which is over there. And by the way, I saw the total out of the San Jacinto mountaintop observation point, and they picked up more than 3 inches so far. So as is typical, mountain locations get more rain. They almost always do, because the water gets squeezed out by the orographic lift that happens there. Now, we're going to be watching for more rain yet to come as well. And that's you know, a growing concern is that, okay, we've all this water now filling up these storm channels. How much more can it take? This is why folks are urged to stay home. Traffic has certainly picked up a little bit more this afternoon when the rain picked up, maybe surprisingly. I did ask the mayor about that, and she said most likely these are people that are trying to get home now that the rain has begun. And, you know, I think folks in this area are aware that when it rains, it floods. It doesn't happen very often, but when it does, it makes a big impact. You go back to even just last September, there was the remnants of Tropical Storm K, which came up here. And Paul, this didn't make a landfall. It didn't actually even move up into California like we're going to see this system. But Paul, it did leave behind a lot of damage and destruction. So I'll send it back into you, but that's what we're worried about, that, you know, inches of rain can cause mudslides. Yeah. Just saw a rock slide down on I-8.
Yeah. And that part, Interstate 8 closed in both directions here as you head well east of San Diego on towards the Yuma area. I think it's like an 1.5 to 2 hour delay trying to get around there if you have to go. But, you know, we knew this is coming. The heavy rain causing some concerns. And even east of where Jen is, the Death Valley National Park is closed because of flooding ongoing there. So we knew we had a bigger chance, that higher risk of flooding just off the coast. So while San Diego, half inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch, we're seeing over an inch and a half farther inland, which is the worst case scenario, because those areas do not handle rain well. Not that this area would, but it will handle it better than the desert areas. But it's all about location. And what Jen was talking about is, you know, you don't have to have that center come through. I know these storms and hurricanes are tracked at that center, but the weather is not at that center only. It's kind of well north and south, east or west of there. And now in Hilary's case, it's well north of the center and really east of that center as well. Now let's talk more about the timing of this. You know, Chris, you're talking more about where Hilary is, and a lot of people still want to track that center. So how far do we have to go in terms of that center now crossing the border and moving into California?
It's getting really close right now, Paul. We can take a look at the latest with the satellite. Tropical Storm Hilary, still 60-mile-per-hour tropical storm. The last position was right here, but you just kind of look at the counterclockwise swirl here. That's how you know you have an area of low pressure, if you can find that counterclockwise swirl. And it's somewhere in here. And I say that because you can just kind of look at the direction right there of the raindrops. There's a little bit more of a curl back here towards the end right there, and this tends to be wrapping up as well. So it's looking like maybe somewhere in here is that broad circulation, at least higher up in the atmosphere, maybe not right down at the surface, but it is moving now into California from Mexico. The rain was, well ahead of the center, and that remains the case as tropical storm warnings are in effect. So winds still up to 70 miles an hour possible. Gusts could be up to 70 miles an hour, sustained at 60. And all the yellow on the map is some of the heavy rain and so many flash flood warnings right now, a considerable threat, and the mountains enhancing the rainfall. And you can even see that, kind of that little bit of a line right here. And then even associated with the storm, you get some of the heavy showers moving through the highly urbanized area here of Los Angeles. Considerable threat here with the system that's coming through. The tropical storm itself has a lot of rain with it, but then some of these individual showers and storms at times can be severe. Can't rule out the possibility of a tornado. Considerable threat in Palm Springs. Seeing in the greater area here in the desert where Storm Tracker Charles Peak is out showing us the scene there. Yuma, the winds have been blowing and howling there. 40 sustained, gusts to 54. Similar story, Blythe 45. And we're seeing, again, some of the strongest winds in the mountains where some of the heaviest rain is also coming down. Again, seeing reports at some of the higher elevations, Alex, getting close to 5 inches of rain with this, and got a ways to go yet.
Right. I was going to say, we're already approaching a half foot. Some areas I think are going to exceed that. Obviously, the flooding that Charles Peak has been showing us, this could be not just impactful, but really life-threatening here as we move forward in time. Ocean Beach, California, the location of this live camera. Not what you expect to see, right? When we look at Southern California, you can see the rain is coming down really, really steadily. Not much in the way of wind there, so the palm trees not moving much. So there's a piece of good news. As Chris pointed out, other areas have not been so lucky. We're going to watch those winds funnel through some of the canyon spots. Some of the higher elevations have seen some gustier winds. But here it is all about the rain, and the rain will be, most prominent, most widespread, heavy as we move through the next few hours. Flash flood warnings, they're piling up here across sections of Southern California, getting over towards the Arizona state line, up towards the LA area, Bakersfield. We've also got some warnings there, and you can see the real heart of this system's moisture working through Los Angeles down to San Diego with very heavy rain in pockets. A few thunder and lightning, or a few lightning strikes, a few rumbles of thunder. You may hear that. And of course, we're also watching for that potential that you actually could see a severe thunderstorm. Can't rule out a tornado either. When we get these landfalling tropical systems, we get that opportunity for storms that rotate. So, of course, keep that in mind. And we've already had a lot going on. So I know you're like, there cannot be more. There could be. We're going to get you through this, so stick with us. We're going to time it all out for you. Los Angeles, it is the short term that's going to bring the worst of the sensible weather. So the gustiest of winds and, of course, the heaviest of rain between now and this evening. I do think that as we get towards the midnight hour, the heavier rain now works into parts of Nevada, sections of Oregon and Idaho as well. Don't want to rule out water issues in these areas as well. Yeah, not as high or significant as a flash flood chance farther to the south, but these areas are also going to be bracing for the possibility of some flash flooding. During the day Monday, rain begins to lighten up, but still on Tuesday, we've at least got some scattered showers across parts of the desert southwest. I don't think we're going to see as much, though, into parts of Southern California as we will into, say, parts of Utah or Arizona or Nevada. But 3 to 5+ inches possible here as we get into some of the mountain spots. So you get that water or that air, rising up the side of those mountain slopes, squeezing out a lot of that moisture. Tropical systems have a ton to work with. And Chris, this is just one of many now flash flood warnings. We've got Los Angeles and Ventura counties.
This is an ongoing situation right now, so we're still getting video in. We did get video in here earlier from Mexico. This is from yesterday. You can really see the rushing water here in Santa Rosalia in the Baja Peninsula. Officials there say one person drowned when a vehicle was swept away. Rescuers were able to save 4 others that were in danger. And you can really see just the power of the water ripping through this town. Is strong enough to do significant damage and easily carry vehicles away. That threat does remain for the U.S. and California, then eventually and more so now into Nevada, as well as we're seeing more heavy rain falling. A rare high risk area here outlined in red. I outlined it in red of the red area. Not just possible, but again, it is likely that there's going to be some flash flooding anywhere in yellow. It's just this high risk area. This is when the overwhelming majority, more than 80% of damage happens on high risk days. With that, the flood threat extending beyond California and Nevada into eastern Oregon, parts of central and eastern Oregon, a lot of Idaho, Utah, and portions of Arizona. Here's that rain right now. Potential for some flooding rain into parts of southern Nevada. And look at this. The extent of this is phenomenal. So many either flash flood warnings. That's the lighter green color, but also within that there are flood advisories. So flash flooding, the very dangerous flooding that's happening very quickly, again, as the name implies, in a flash. Then flood advisories for areas that typically flood or are more flood prone, seeing some flooding. So the ongoing threat here through Tuesday morning. A lot of this really happening tonight and during the overnight hours, but then continuing as the storm moves up to the north, likely remnants in the next couple of days, but nonetheless bringing with it a lot of baggage. That baggage being a lot of moisture and the potential for heavy rain. High wind warnings posted from the Mexico border here in California and Arizona all the way up to southern Idaho and parts of Montana. So still packing a pretty potent punch. On top of all of that, right in here in Ventura County, there was an earthquake a short while ago, a 5.1. There has since been 4 aftershocks ranging from 3.1. I'm sorry, now 5 aftershocks ranging between 3.1 and 3.6 in magnitude here. Again, 5.1 magnitude earthquake a little bit earlier. That was at 2:41 Pacific time. And again, 5 aftershocks, 3.1 to 3.6. And again, gosh, you know what? You hate to see it. The threats are coming at us in all different angles here as far as the wind, the flooding. And now as we go back to meteorologist Paul Goodlow in San Diego, it's hard to imagine a pretty decent-sized earthquake there near Ojai.
Yeah, that's a nice little shake going on there. And I tell you what, you talk about the threats there, Chris, and the threats that we know and threats we can avoid. Can't really avoid the earthquakes. You don't know when they're coming, but you can avoid floodwaters. And yeah, believe it or not, despite the barricades we have on both sides of the San Diego River, which runs across the street, we just saw an idiot drive around there. You know, it is what it is. You do it, I'm going to call you out because you put a lot of people at risk if you get caught. And people, yeah, have been caught here earlier this year because of flooding.
Summer won't last forever, but during Toyota's national sales event, you can make memories that will.
Okay, fine. Come on. There you go.
Where's my mom? Just be in the moment.
Yeah, just be present.
Toyota, let's go places.
My dad was a hard worker. He used to do side jobs, installing windows, charging something like $100 a window when other guys were charging $400 to $500. He just didn't want to do that. He was proud of the price he was charging. My dad instilled in me, always put the people before the money. Be proud of offering a good product at a fair price. I think he'd be extremely proud of me. Yeah.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about. Is this your plan to watch the game today?
Yeah, I have to watch my neighbor's NFL Sunday ticket.
It's not your best plan, but you know what it is? My plan from Verizon. Switch now and they'll give you NFL Sunday ticket from YouTube TV on them.
This plan is amazing.
Another amazing plan? Backing away from here very slowly.
Oh, Josh Allen.
For a limited time, get NFL Sunday ticket from YouTube TV on us, a $449 value. Plus, get a free Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 5, only on Verizon.
The beach has always been there for us. So it's time we were there for it. That's why Corona's helping clean 100 beaches by 2025. It's the first step in our fight against plastic pollution.
The moment you realize staying in is the new going out. Frito-Lay, there's a snack for that.
I will be a travel influencer.
Hey, I thought you were on vacation.
It's too expensive.
Use Priceline. They've got deals no one else has.
What about work?
I got you.
Looking great, you guys.
Go to your happy price, Priceline.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you with professional-grade industrial supplies. Count on real-time product availability and fast delivery. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Is a new title really necessary?
Sir, after bestowing the gift of renting ease to millions, a bump is in order.
Okay, let's see.
Master of the rental sphere.
Wow. Oh, is it too much? Apartments.com, a place to find a place.
Watch the Weather Channel all weekend for ongoing coverage of Hilary. Get trusted updates on the historic storm, only on the Weather Channel.
Here's your chance to try Lumi deodorant. I'm the founder, I get to break the rules, but you know what? You get to pick the scents, and here's what you get. You get a solid stick and a cream tube in the scents of your choice, plus you get to pick 2 free things. I'd recommend the acidified body wash and the acidified deodorant wipes. Plus, this entire starter pack has free shipping, so it's gonna arrive at your door for free. I think you better pick up this starter pack. It's the best smelling Lumi ever in the best selling starter pack of all time.
Your old floors have flopped. Maybe they don't fit your lifestyle. Or your life's style. Where do you even start? You need a guide, an expert. You need LL Flooring. We've seen it all.
It's a rental.
It's a remodel.
It's a really bad day.
We help you find your right floor at the right price, turning indecision into your best decision. LL Flooring. Every step covered.
The power of the Weather Channel, now available to everyone.
This is epic!
Trusted live coverage when it matters most is now yours to stream with the Weather Channel TV app, real-time radar, and maps that let you track all the action.
Let's get into the details.
Personalization, customization, hundreds of hours of your favorite shows, and so much more. There's never been a better way for everyone to watch the Weather Channel. Available now on these platforms. Download now to start your free 7-day trial.
Yeah, so it goes from, rolling down to a big gush of floodwaters. That is the flash in flash flooding. That's in Sheeps Canyon, California. It's, say, maybe about 50 miles or so, kind of northeast of where I am in San Diego. But that's the big concern, and that's not to mention that's up in kind of the hills of the mountains here in Southern California. So that is also bringing out even more of Hilary's tropical moisture from this atmosphere and helping it rush into those washes, those rivers, those creeks and streams, which this time of the year traditionally are fairly dry until you have a big rain event. This is also the monsoon season to have some thunderstorms, but those are typically isolated, not unheard of. But this is now a tropical storm. The center of Hilary still moving through parts of the northern Baja in Mexico, about to come into California later on this afternoon and bring with it more and more rain. We're just kind of tapering off of this kind of a moderate to heavy rain steady that we had for the last, say, 25 minutes or so, which even caused this little low spot in the road, which funnels the stormwater to run pretty high for a while. And that feeds into the San Diego River, which this road basically goes over. So, or kind of the river goes through the road. It's a known low spot. It's a known flood spot. I was talking to some of the fine officers here from the San Diego Police Department. They're saying, yeah, just last year, you know, someone got caught in the floodwaters here and had to be rescued after a couple of hours. And we just saw someone willingly move and drive around the barriers to come on through here. And really, it's not that long of a detour to find another way around. You might have a couple more lights to go through. But that's the big concern is, you know, the flash flooding. And while this has been, you know, kind of an annoyance in this part of San Diego County, a little farther east, it's a little more concerning. We've seen perhaps twice or even 3 times the amount of rain. We're about a ½ inch, closing in at maybe 3/4 of an inch. We're talking an inch, inch and a half or more in the eastern part of this county, and a little farther north of that into the more traditional desert areas of Southern California. They're seeing an inch-plus type rainfall rates, and that moves into southern Nevada as well. So it's a big concern for this desert environment farther east to handle this much rain. So flash flooding is an ongoing concern and will as we head down throughout the day. But it's all about where you are and where this rain is falling. And Chris, you have more on what's happening right now with the movement of Hilary and what's to come as we head throughout the rest of this Sunday.
Yeah, unfortunately, Paul, more of what you have right now for the rest of this Sunday and into the overnight hours tonight into early tomorrow for a lot of California. We'll take a closer look at the radar in just a moment, but we want to get you caught up on what we know about Tropical Storm Hilary. Also, a magnitude 5.1 earthquake hitting California, Ojai, California, and Ventura County. Also, at least 5 aftershocks have been reported. Also, a state of emergency has been declared for Nevada. Death Valley National Park closed due to active and ongoing flooding right now. So again, watching the heavy rain coming down still with Tropical Storm Hilary. And we are seeing, again, the very heavy rain in some heavily populated areas right now.
Paul brought up the bingo card. We had, the blizzard warnings. We've got the tropical storm warnings. Now we've got an earthquake. So for those of you in Southern California, I know 2023 has been quite a year. We're the Weather Channel. Usually you don't have to watch us, right? Because it's beautiful out there. Not the case right now, but we've got you covered. We're going to walk you through it, help you prepare. Of course, I know these kind of systems are your neighbors into the southeastern and the Gulf Coast part of the U.S. very used to. You guys, not as much. The rain, that's going to be our biggest issue here. And as Chris has been saying, the flash flood warnings, they've been piling up. They continue to add up as the rain is still falling. And at times, it's falling heavily. So we're dealing with those tropical rainfall rates that, again, you guys just don't see very often. Los Angeles and Ventura counties here under a flash flood warning with the considerable threat on this. A lot of roadways are covered. What you want to do is stay off the roads. That's option number 1. I know sometimes you're like, that is not an option for me. I have to go to work. I'm a first responder. What you're going to do, give yourself a lot of time. Watch for water-covered roadways. They're not always going to be blocked off by barricades. You know, the first responders, they're out there doing the best they can. But with a system like this, we're going to see things probably get to a point where there's too many for them to get them all. So watch for those water-covered roadways. Turn around, don't drown. Truly words to live by. As we move through the next few hours, that's when the worst of the rain will continue. So the heaviest and steadiest rain with us through about the evening hours begins to pull out, but not done as we move into the overnight hours. So still 4 o'clock in the morning, at times some light to moderate rain. I think by tomorrow afternoon, we'll see things finally begin to dry out around LA and
it's the most wonderful time of the year.
Non-drowsy Claritin knocks out symptoms from over 200 allergens without knocking you out. Feel the clarity and make today the most wonderful time of the year. Live Claritin Clear.
What? It's superhero dance school.
Lego with Ego.
Can't wait.
Have fun, sis.
Can't stop adding stuff to your cart? Get the Bank of America customized cash rewards card. Choose the online shopping category and earn 3% cash back.
Power outages are unpredictable, inconvenient, and disruptive to your life, posing a real threat to your comfort and safety. When the power goes out, you have no lights, no refrigeration, no heating or air conditioning. Your well or sump pump won't work. Your modern daily electronics are rendered useless. And what if the power's out for days or weeks? Are you prepared? You can be with a Generac home standby generator.
With the Generac, it powers our well, our refrigerator, and my CPAP machine, which are all things that we need to survive on a day-to-day basis.
When a power outage occurs, your Generac home standby generator automatically powers up, so your life goes on without disruption. You and your family are comfortable, safe, and secure. Generac generators run on your home's existing natural gas or propane, and Generac's Mobile Link remote monitoring system keeps you posted on operating status, maintenance updates, and more. Generac generators are designed, engineered, and purpose-built in the USA. Generac is the #1 manufacturer of home standby generators in the world. 8 out of 10 home generators are Generac, with thousands of satisfied customers.
We chose Generac because you see them everywhere. After the hurricane, I looked at my wife and said, thank God we have a Generac. We were safe.
Prices start at just $19.99, and owning a generator is easier than ever. Special financing is available with low monthly payment options. Act now, and you will also receive a free 7-year warranty valued at $735. Call or go online now to request your free quote with one of Generac's 8,000 nationwide dealers. The call is free, the quote is free, and there's no obligation to buy. Call or go online now so the next time there's a power outage, your home powers up. Power your life with Generac. Call or go online to request your free quote today.
Tommy John's latest innovation is here. Introducing Hammock Pouch Underwear. A lightweight interior hammock provides superior daily support to nestle you in insanely soft comfort. It works by eliminating the swing and cling that causes chafe while allowing for breathable, sweat-free relief. Check out our 5-star reviews online right now. Because here's the rub. With Hammock Pouch Underwear, there is none. Get 20% off your first order at TommyJohn.com.
Fancy Feast. Chef inspired. Cat adored. Every silky broth. Every impeccable pate. Every delicious detail brings you and your cat closer together. Fancy Feast. Love is in the details.
It's a fact. No other news network out there is trusted more than the Weather Channel.
This is epic.
Trusted to be there, where and when you need us. Trusted to give you every advantage before the storm.
Absolutely unbelievable.
Because America doesn't trust hurricane season to just anyone.
Hilary has made landfall in northern Baja California.
Our message today is clear. Stay safe, stay home, and stay informed.
And that is the message all across Southern California today. Not only here, but the message is also repeated in parts of Arizona, parts of Nevada, and eventually parts of Utah and even Idaho and Montana because of the moisture from what once was a powerful Category 4 Hurricane Hilary, now a tropical storm. Welcome back to the Weather Channel. We're tracking now Tropical Storm Hilary. I'm meteorologist Paul Goodlow live in San Diego in the San Diego River. It's about, say, 70 yards behind me here. This road goes right across it, and barricades set up on both sides of this road to prevent people from driving through there, because while there's no big flash flood of the river coming through right now, it has happened before, and when you have heavy rain in this area, that can often happen. That's why we also have the San Diego's finest here. They're you know, if you don't believe my public shaming, because we already saw people drive around the barricades on both sides to move them to just, you know, get to where they're going. Well, if my public shaming isn't enough, perhaps their public shaming will be enough to discourage you. And I know we all have places to go. Trust me, we have places to go. It took us a little longer to get here, but take the time and arrive alive. Don't just worry about, what GPS is telling you to do. There are going to be a lot of road closures all across the Southwest, really the western U.S., because of what's going on here with Hilary. Now, so far, we're over a half-inch of rain. We haven't seen as much as areas, say, in eastern parts of San Diego County has. And those areas, the farther east you go, the more desert kind of climate they have, so they don't deal with that. Reports of mudslides east of here, Interstate 8, heading on towards Yuma, about, say, 60 miles, 50 miles to the west of Yuma in California. Interstate 8 is closed in both directions because of a rock slide because of the heavy rain. Some areas there, inch and a half up towards Mount Laguna, and some of these mountains are well over 4,000 feet, bringing even more rain from this tropical flow from Hilary. Now, Hilary might not be a hurricane, but it's still bringing a lot of moisture well across this part of Southern California. Well, let's travel up towards the Palm Springs area where Jen Carfagno is riding Hilary's rain out as well. And Jen, we've been dealing with a lot of rain even there in Palm Springs. But this morning, you didn't have the big push of rain. The rain really picked up later in the morning and the afternoon. Did you experience anyone this morning saying, hey, well, what's going on? It looks like Hilary's a dud. Did you have any kind of, questions of the forecast?
Yeah. You know what, Paul, that's a really good question, because I always wear my storm gear when I'm here because it sparks conversation in any town I get to. And I did go to the grocery store this morning, and I had a lot of people come up and talk to me, and not saying at all that they were worried that it was going to be a dud. They had some real concerns. We don't get a lot of rain here. They were worried that this very thing was going to happen with the roads. They, despite being from California, knew very well the nature of tropical storms and that they can be very changeable, that, you don't necessarily get the same type of weather all across the area impacted. So it was an interesting couple of conversations that I had. Everyone was sort of cautiously optimistic this morning when it wasn't raining as heavily as we knew that it could, because knowing that we still had time to make it through. We still had to get through this whole event, which, by the way, is not over yet. The rain has lightened up a little bit, but it's still falling, at least lightly, and that is a concern that, until the rain stops, we're not done. I've been looking for some rainfall totals. I'm trying to add up from the observation from the airport. I haven't gotten that all tallied up yet. My hands are just so wet. It's hard stuff to do. But let me show you, this is a rain gauge that we just put out. We had it on the roof for a while when we were up there, and we brought it down here. It's about 1.5 inches. I mean, that's very unofficial, because this is a rain gauge that we've been moving around. It's not necessarily capturing all the rain, but that's a lot of rain for us here in the desert. We average about, a little under 4 inches for the year. And so to get this much rain at once, and knowing that we still have more to get to, that is a concern as we get into tonight. Let me put this back down in the soil for now, see if I can get it in there. I don't want to lose my rain, because I'm going to keep capturing that. What I'm concerned about now is that we're in a break and people might come back out thinking that the rain is over. It is not necessarily over. I'm watching on the satellite the moisture to our south, so we still have some potential to go. This street has not really shown any signs of getting a lot better. There's been some improvement, maybe that the rain lessened up a little bit, but you can still see as cars come through, they're making waves. The water is still flowing into the stormwater channel. This will be, until the rain is completely over, flooding on the road still a concern.
Scout is protected by Simparica Trio, and he's in it to win it. Simparica Trio is the first and only chew with triple protection. Oh, please! And ticks! Intestinal worms! Whoa, heartworm disease! No problem with Simparica Trio. This drug class has been associated with neurologic adverse reactions, including seizures. Used with caution in dogs with a history of these disorders. For winning protection, go with Simparica Trio.
Chevy Silverado has what it takes to do it all. With up to 13 camera views and the Z71 off-road package.
You okay? Yeah.
Any truck can help you make a living. This one helps you build a life. Chevy Silverado.
Astapro Allergy. Still
steroid-free allergy relief that starts working in 30 minutes, while other allergy sprays take hours. With Astapro's unbeatably fast allergy relief, you can Astapro and go.
Hey, what if getting insurance is scary? What if the jargon makes me feel alone and in the dark?
At State Farm, we're there for your what-ifs.
Great.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Call or click to get a quote today.
Papa John's new garlic epic stuffed crust pizza is the pizza inspired by our biggest fans. With that garlic flavor you all love.
In it, on it, with it.
Get the new garlic epic stuffed crust pizza for $13.99 only at Papa John's.
Also play the lead in the school play.
When you're with your club, harmony happens. A club is all you need.
I'm Jimmy Dean, and only one thing can make a morning like this any nicer.
A hearty, hefty, good-tasting breakfast with eggs, bacon, sausage, cheese, and taters. And when you finish, you know you had something to eat.
You know what's missing from the entire fitness industry? A program for beginners only. Not anymore. Whoop, whoop. I'll ease you into exercise to help you feel great as soon as you get started. Try For Beginners Only with your free trial at body.com.
Stay 2 nights and get a $50 Best Western gift card. Book now at bestwestern.com.
Take a look at this heart. It's the one I'm gonna use to love.
The power of the Weather Channel, now available to everyone. Real-time radar, and so much more. Go to streamtwc.com to start your free 7-day trial.
Well, Hilary's rain has caused boulders to slide here in Copa Mountain area here in Southern California. It's about 50 miles to the east of San Diego. And yeah, it's a very desert climate in the area. But when you pick up some areas, 1.5 inches of rain, that part of the county, that's what happens. You start kind of loosening up and reducing the friction that's holding some of these boulders together, and gravity takes over and continues to always win. Gravity, Mother Nature, these players are undefeated. All right, let's take you into live pictures from our Charles Speaker Storm Tracker. He's in the Coachella Valley, and he's on the roads around Riverside County now, showing folks still out and about. The good news is, you know, most people have heeded the warnings and the advice to avoid unnecessary travel, and not as many people there, but we're watching the shots from Jennifer Fagno and even seeing people rolling through intersections with water kind of flying on up. So it's still a big concern. Even here in San Diego, that we're still dealing with some of the notorious low water crossings, dealing with signs and barricades. And believe it or not, even with that, people still try to drive around that. But if they do, fortunately, there's a cruiser here from San Diego PD waiting to give you a nice little ticket, Stern talking to. I try to talk to you sternly, but, you know, people still ignore common sense. And, you know, it's not, we're not trying to, you know, poke fun at people, but it's really is life-threatening, because first responders, we've seen even the fire department truck on our call here, they're the ones who have to be out here in this. If you don't have to, it's advised not to. I know we have second shift people and third shift people overnight, and when this sun goes down, the danger of this even increases more, because water has a leveling effect of the horizon. You don't know how deep that road is, and it puts a lot of people in jeopardy. And if this could help save some people lives during this historic tropical event, we'll save. But also, when you have landfalling systems, we have concerns with severe weather, including the risk for tornadoes. Alex, Chris?
All right, Paul, thank you so much. I want to get you back in here to our radar. We've got a tornado warning to tell you about. Chris, this is always a threat with a landfalling tropical system, and sure enough, east of San Diego, we're under that warning.
You can kind of see the big rotation with the tropical storm, but embedded within some of these bands, heavy rain, and now a tornado warning here, this in San Diego County. It's approaching Interstate 8 right now.
Yeah, so we've got San Diego County. Again, we are off to the east of San Diego. National Weather Service has noted some rotation with this. Not unusual when you deal with these tropical systems. So you're going to get a little influx here in the wind. There's that area of rotation just to the south and east of that Interstate 8 icon. So right between Harbison Canyon and Pine Valley, this is moving off to the north around 20 miles an hour.
Yeah, so with the threats that we're watching, the flash flood threat, now a tornado threat that is ongoing. We've known about this. I mean, this is something that, as you said, absolutely can happen, and that's what we're seeing right now as it's approaching. That circulation is approaching Interstate 8.
Yeah, what a day for California. So we've got tornado warnings, tropical storm warnings. We've had an earthquake. We're still dealing with flash flood warnings galore. And as you mentioned, we're still seeing that overall circulation of Hilary. The system overall will continue to weaken. It's luckily moving north at 23 miles an hour. So that's going to do some good things for us. It's going to keep that rain moving. But, Chris, between now and when it moves out, big-time rain coming down still.
It's going to take a while. I mean, you look at just how big this area is. You can kind of see the rotation right in here. This whole mass is going to lift up and continue. So it's raining here right now, getting into the Central Valley, and more is on the way.
Yeah, a lot of that rain has been shunted on the north side of the system, and a lot of that rain falling over some of those really populated areas. So where do most of the people live in the state of California? Well, for one, the LA metro area, and so now we've got a ton of rain coming down there. Here's how it plays out.
And another great reminder, too, when we talk about the forecast cone, is we saw that heavy rain right here. It's outside of the cone. The center may be going that way, but the heavy rain is big footprint.
Yeah, this is telling us the movement of the center of the storm. So again, those of you in California, you're like, I don't know what this is. You don't have to be. But again, the impacts can extend outside of that cone. There's that tropical storm warning. And again, most of Southern California from the U.S.-Mexico border all the way up to Santa Clarita and Lancaster is under that warning.
So could see still wind gusts to 70 miles an hour. The storm's sustained at 60. Again, here's that tornado warning, all of the different flash flood warning. There's flood advisories, but the LA basin right here, you can even see it when it's zoomed in, how gray it is.
Yeah.
All that concrete, it's a lot of runoff.
Yeah, that's the thing. You know, we get that water falling over areas where we've got grass. That's one thing. But here where you've got a ton of roads, a ton of pavement, you're going to have a ton of runoff. Our Charles Peak is out there, man. He has been capturing some scenes of a lot of high water. So please, please be careful. Jen Carfagno is in Palm Springs. Jen, you also are dealing with some really heavy rainfall there.
Yeah, you know, it just picked back up again, actually. So it got lighter for a moment, but I would call this now more of a moderate rainfall. I mean, look, if we weren't worried about flooding, this would be a really nice rainy day. It's a very gentle rain. There's not a lot of wind here for us here. There was a few gusts earlier today, but now it's really been the rain. And honestly, I've been cautiously watching the stormwater channel because it does keep coming up. It's not in danger of overflowing right now, but that is the concern across the entire Coachella Valley is, will these channels be able to hide all the water, and will there be more flooding than just the street flooding that's leading into them? You know, this is why people are urged to stay home and paying attention to the weather even tomorrow after it ends.
Meet the future. A chef, a designer, and an engineer. All learning to save and spend their money with Chase. The chef's cooking up first with her new debit card.
Hungry?
Uh-huh. The designer's eyeing sequins, no, plaid. While mom is eyeing his spending. Nice. And the engineer? She's taking control with her own account for college. 3 futures, all with Chase. Freedom for kids, control for parents. One bank for both. Chase, make more of what's yours.
At Honda, hybrid is more than fuel efficiency. It means sporty and fun to drive. Style that enhances functionality. And technology that's paving the way for tomorrow. No wonder it made Car and Driver's 10 Best list for the 37th time. The new 2023 Accord Hybrid. Hybrid, defined by Honda.
There comes a time in every dip's life when it's ready to leave the slow cooker, even buffalo chicken dip. So we put juicy chicken, buffalo sauce, and melty cheese in a portable crispy golden shell. Runaway dip, you're free now. Sonic $2.99 buffalo chicken dip bites.
Ever
notice how stiff clothes can feel rough on your skin? For softer clothes that are gentle on your skin, try Downy Free and Gentle. Downy will soften your clothes without dyes or perfumes. The towel washed with Downy is softer and gentler on your skin. Try Downy Free and Gentle.
When occasional heartburn won't let you sleep, get fast relief with new Tums Plus Heartburn Plus Sleep Support. Love food back and fall asleep faster.
Upon approaching the 18th green, Issa Tanaka silently proclaimed, "My brother may think he's a better golfer, a more witty conversationalist. He may think he's superior, but he's not. Because I switched to Consumer Cellular for the same coverage for up to half the cost. He may have mom's dimples, but I pay less for wireless. I'm the one who wins." Birds, when freedom calls, we're here to answer.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
Non-drowsy Claritin knocks out symptoms from over 200 allergens without knocking you out. Feel the clarity and make today the most wonderful time of the year. Live Claritin Clear.
This is Marianne's first time visiting Paris.
Madame, où allez-vous?
Before Marianne packed her bags, before she attempted her first sentence in French, before she completed her first 15-minute lesson,
Yes.
she downloaded Babbel. Babbel helped unlock her lifelong dream of learning French. She started speaking in just 3 weeks. So when it came time to tell the cab driver to take her to the Hotel Pierre,
J'aimerais aller à l'Hôtel Pierre.
Oh, c'est très bien. J'espère que votre voyage s'est bien passé.
150 language experts and educators designed Babbel to be the most efficient and effective way to learn a new language. Babbel focuses on natural conversation. You'll remember what you learn, and you can speak and pronounce with confidence. Start speaking a new language in 3 weeks. Start learning today at Babbel.com.
It's a fact. No other news network out there is trusted more than the Weather Channel.
This is epic!
Trusted to be there, where and when you need us. Trusted to give you every advantage before the storm.
Absolutely unbelievable.
Because America doesn't trust hurricane season to just anyone.
Ongoing flood threat, tornado warning, and an earthquake all in California. We're going to start with a look right now at the tornado warning, where there's some very heavy rain embedded within some of these bands associated with what is still Tropical Storm Hilary. A tornado warning, very heavy rain moving over Interstate 8 right now. Some rotation was being detected. This right in here now, the heaviest rain is right over Interstate 8 and heading north here in San Diego County. The spin, the movement of the raindrops indicated in red and green is not as obvious now, but it was earlier. You see the bright right there. So the green wind's going toward the radar, red away from the radar. So that indicates where there's that rotation and the spin. Doesn't look as obvious now. But again, you get in some of this hilly, mountainous terrain. It can be tough for some of the radar data. Also, again, seeing some very heavy rain heading out into the deserts. Let's go ahead and take a live look right now at Storm Tracker Charles Peak's location, where he is out tracking some of the storms and tracking what's happening. You see here a vehicle getting stuck in the waters, and here comes the tow truck here, the flatbed, to get that vehicle out of there and on their way. Again, this is still a ongoing developing situation here in Southern California. Flash flood warnings for a lot of San Diego County, Inigo County, into San Bernardino, Riverside, also parts of Orange County under a flash flood warning. Imperial County, excuse me, is under parts of it under flash flood warnings. Also into here, parts of San Bernardino and Riverside counties. This is in Riverside County. Considerable threat with this flash flooding, and we see a live look here of what we're seeing with Charles Peak's shot and location, where the rain's letting up a bit, but the flooding, it's going to take a while for the floodwaters to go down. Again, vehicles being stranded. We're seeing that live. Los Angeles under a flash flood warning, and in Ventura County, right next to Los Angeles County, near Ojai, at 2:41 Pacific time, a 5.1 earthquake and several aftershocks ranging from 3.1 to 3.6. A lot going on here in Southern California, including that ongoing flood threat in Palm Springs, where we find meteorologist Jen Carfagno. Jen.
Yeah, all right, Chris. Some breaking news actually here from Palm Springs now. The the city manager has declared a local emergency due to the impacts of Hilary, the rainfall, the flooding of roads. There's been at least one swiftwater rescue. There's a number of closures. I won't even go through them all because some of them had been closed earlier, like North Indian Canyon Drive, but some of them are newer ones, like at Mesquite Drive, El Cilio. There's a number of spots that are closed because water is covering the roadway. And so the best advice is to just stay home. You know, there was that report of one swiftwater rescue. You can avoid that by not going out and driving, or if you absolutely have to drive, making sure that you do not drive over water-covered roadways, that you do not know how deep the floodwater is. You know, it's one thing when you can't tell how deep it is and you think, well, maybe I can make it. But then what if the road is washed out underneath? What if something is compromised here? And that's a concern always in flash flooding. And I know that's something we don't have to deal with very often in the desert because this kind of rain that we're talking about here, nearly 2 inches already, and it's still falling. This kind of rain we only experience every couple of years or even longer than that. So this is a big deal for us here in the desert. That's why businesses, many of them, either closed early or didn't even open at all today because of the concerns about flooding on the streets and getting around and getting home after, you know, folks having to go to work, etc. Today we're going to be, you know, in this. The rain is we still have a ways to go in terms of getting this rain through. And then even after the fact, after the rain ends, when I talked to the mayor earlier, you know, she warned that sometimes there's still debris and water that has to come down the mountains even after the rain ends. So you still have to be vigilant even as the rain wraps up tomorrow. That's going to be a concern, watching and looking at the roadways to see what's passable and what isn't. You know, we are still in the thick of it here. The rain has been falling very steadily for the last 3 hours or so here. Again, adding up around 2 inches, a little less than that perhaps so far, but continuing to fall at a pretty decent rate. We had some times where that rain was falling at up over about a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch or even 3/4 of an inch. And it's these bursts of the heavy rainfall that gives us these flooded intersections here that, you know, the light rain, I think we could handle a little bit better, but the heavier rain is what causes these problems. And that may not sound like a lot to many of you watching from across the country, but in the desert, a 1/4 of an inch, a 1/2 inch, an inch is a lot of rainfall, and especially when it comes down in a short period of time. So here in Palm Springs, we'll just continue to watch the rain concerns, staying off the roads and staying safe with the moisture from what was the tropical storm Hilary would across the Baja just hours ago.
I'm still tasting what's next, even with higher stroke risk due to AFib not caused by a heart valve problem. So if there's a better treatment than warfarin, I'm hungry for that. Eliquis. Eliquis reduces stroke risk better than warfarin and has less major bleeding than warfarin. Eliquis has both.
Don't stop taking Eliquis without talking to your doctor, as this may increase your risk of stroke. Eliquis can cause serious and, in rare cases, fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve or abnormal bleeding. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. Get help right away for unexpected bleeding or unusual bruising. It may increase your bleeding risk if you take certain medicines. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures.
The #1 cardiologist prescribed blood thinner. Ask your doctor about Eliquis.
Summer won't last forever, but during Toyota's national sales event, you can make memories that will.
Okay, fine.
Come on.
There you go.
Where's my mom? Just be in the moment.
Yeah, just be present.
Toyota, let's go places.
Subway's now slicing their meats fresh. That's why soccer pros like me prefer the Grand Slam ham.
And this rookie prefers fresh sliced turkey.
Perfect when you're subbed out of a game.
And if we prefer it, we know you'll prefer it too.
Nothing better than a sub.
Can I have some Lays? What you watching?
The FIFA Women's World Cup. Can I show you?
Imagine this is Mia Hamm.
Whoa, what the?
Mia takes the ball downfield and passes it to the Doritos, Abby Wambach. She shoots! She scores!
For the ones ensuring the job always gets done, and the ones wearing many hats, Grainger offers professional-grade industrial supplies and real-time product availability. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Fancy Feast. Chef-inspired. Cat-adored. Every silky broth, every impeccable pate, every delicious detail brings you and your cat closer together. Fancy Feast. Love is in the details.
Over 13 million Americans were affected by identity theft in 2022. And the threats go way beyond just credit card fraud. Today's identity thieves can open loans, transfer home titles, and even commit crimes in your name.
Someone got my social security number, made a driver's license, and was used for criminal activity.
Your information is exposed through online shopping, banking, even corporate data breaches. No wonder there's a new victim of identity theft every 3 seconds. Only LifeLock alerts you to the widest volume of threats all in one place.
I clicked, "That's not me," and LifeLock took it from there.
If you become a victim, a dedicated U.S.-based restoration specialist will work to fix the issue. All LifeLock members are backed by the LifeLock $1 Million Protection Package, including reimbursement for stolen funds.
I will be with LifeLock forever.
Enrollment takes just minutes. Call now or go online and use promo code GET25 to save 25% on your first year. Enroll now.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
Non-drowsy Claritin knocks out symptoms from over 200 allergens without knocking you out. Feel the clarity and make today the most wonderful time of the year. Live Claritin Clear.
Rain that is now beginning to pick up a bit, light to moderate rainfall becoming fairly steady, and I will tell you that water is going to be an issue, at least the rising water, flooding. Tropical storm Hilary had made its way on shore, making landfall. It's bringing a lot of moisture with it and a lot of problems.
As you can see, that water is quickly kind of bubbling up at that storm drain. It is not able to handle the rate at which this rain is falling and allow that water to drain very easily.
Well, Hilary's rain dropping historic rain in Southern California, also helping to drop big boulders. Look at the size of this piece of rock next to that Caltrans dump truck. Yeah, that puts it to scale. This is not a kid's toy. That's a full-size Caltrans truck, dump truck, next to this huge mountain of rock, which has come climbing down on the highway there. It's the Encopa Mountains. And also, by the way, Interstate 8 closed because of mudslides. Here's video from the area here in Ocotillo, California. This is to the west of Yuma, to the well far to the east of San Diego here. But yeah, big time traffic concerns across the area. Roads have been closed. Numerous roads have been closed across many counties here across the Southwest, including this road that I'm standing next to. Welcome back. We're still tracking Hilary here. Now a tropical storm here in San Diego. Meteorologist Paul Goodlow, and barricades have been set up The San Diego River kind of runs across this road here, so it's a known low spot. It's a known spot where you have water rushing down from the higher terrain a little farther east in San Diego County, and then pushing towards, that water comes towards the low spot, which is San Diego Bay, which drains into the Pacific Ocean. And we had a lot of heavy rain this winter, and we had flooding across this road. So preemptively, City of San Diego Department of Public Works said come out and put up these barricades, but still people still drive around that. Hence you have the police department out here waiting to give them a stern talking to, and hopefully, a fine, some type of citation to say, we all have places to go, but the concern is you put people's lives at risk. You put your own life at risk. And, if it's preventable, sometimes, and too many times, flash flooding is not preventable. You can't stop it from happening, and people just get overcome by it. But to purposely put yourself in harm's way, that's what we're trying to really put an end to. Because, we're not done with this. We're making out not too terribly bad so far in this part of San Diego. We're talking over ½ inch of rain, but areas east and north of here, we're talking 2, 3, 4 times that. Over 2 inches of rain in some locations. Eastern part of San Diego County, some estimates now, some gauges saying maybe an inch, inch and a half of rain. They had more heavy rain with a thunderstorm activity, and we're still dealing with the risk of severe weather and even the risk of tornadoes. We still have that risk here. Anytime you have a landfalling tropical system, there's a lot of rotation, a lot of shear going on. They can quickly spin up tornadoes, and so we've been dealing with a tornado warning even in parts of kind of central San Diego County just minutes ago because of the fast spinning up of this nature of tornadic or tropical tornadoes as well. But I mentioned some heavier rain. We had a little farther northeast of here into the Coachella Valley. That's where Jen Carfagno has been riding out Hilary there, and reports of maybe more than 2 inches of rain there. Let's see what Jen has to say.
Not every day you wake up to a tropical storm warning on your phone in Palm Springs, California, and that's the case here. Look at this tropical rain that is still coming down and has flooded some of the streets. You can see the intersection behind me at Indian Canyon Drive, how that water is just funneling down from the mountains, down the streets, and heading into the stormwater channels that collect the water and bring it out to the Salton Sea to try to keep that flooding from really inundating the community. Now, as the rain came down, interestingly, I noticed the traffic started picking up. The mayor told me that she thought, well, people are actually just trying to get home now that the rain has began. And, we really need to be vigilant after the rain ends because there can still be water or debris or even rock slides that can happen after the rain ends. That water still has to make its way all the way down the mountains. So concerns tomorrow, even when the rain moves out, there still could be issues with travel. School is back in session here in Palm Springs, and it'll be a wait and see on the condition of the roads to see if school will be back in classrooms. In Palm Springs, I'm Jen Carfagno.
All right, thanks, Jen. And we're still, hoping for the best here, preparing for potential the worst with the flooded signs and the road closures in portions of San Diego. But like Jen mentioned, a lot of kids are scheduled to go back to school on Monday. So this is, yes, kind of a damper to the end of their summer vacation. But, being on the roads, we started the day over on Coronado Island, and then just driving in through here, it's not your normal kind of volume of Sunday traffic, which means the messaging is working for a lot of people, which is fantastic, which is to avoid unnecessary travel, to ride this out at home. It's going to be the safest place for you. The timing of this is good as well because it's on a Sunday. It's also happening, the bulk of it, during the daylight hours, so people can be aware if threats are rising quickly around them. But we are far from over. That center is yet to come into California. It should be, as we head shortly, have an official U.S. landfall of that center. But as you see on the satellite radar, it's not just a point, it's a huge weather field. And let's go back to the studio now. And Chris, you got the latest on what's going on here with Hilary, but also you have the latest on another oddity today, which is an earthquake here in Southern California.
That's right, in Ventura County. It's almost you didn't believe it when you first heard it, right? With as much that's going on across Central and Southern California right now, and in Nevada and Arizona. This really the main mess, if you will, right in here. And we're thinking the center of the low, I'm doing it really large, somewhere in there. So it's getting closer. But the bottom line is you see just how much heavy rain there is covering several counties here in Southern California. So this is a large system, even though it's moving